You
Good morning, fellow members of the Philippine Home-based Virtual Assistants community. We're sorry for a little bit of the delay there, technical glitch again. As we go live, there are a lot of things that we experience, and we hope you can join us today. We have a very special guest in today's live FB Live, like what I've promised last time, although it's a bit earlier than the usual schedule that we were supposed to do. Mr. Andrew here has a very special meeting to go to, so we need to adjust the schedule a little bit earlier. So, good morning to all of you, and please join us as we do our live today. Real Talk with Dolores, together with Mr. Andrew Lewis, the country manager of Virtual Coworker. Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning, Dolores. How are you?
I'm pretty fine. How about you? How are you doing?
I'm fantastic.
Okay, that's marvelous. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I believe that there are a lot of things that we need to discuss, especially that the expo is upcoming and you're part of the expo. And thank you so much for believing in the event that we're going to do. It's not just about us, but it's for all of us. And we're really excited about it. And I hope you're here. But then again, we understand the situation. Although we've met already once and it was really a great experience, I would say we're in a different places. Anyways, that was a cool experience. Anyways, today we are going to talk about a lot of things that probably as a VA or as a newbie, you would want to hear from people who has a great understanding of how you can really kickstart your career as a VA or a home-based professional. We're going to discuss and ask Andrew a lot of questions. And if you have questions or comment, please send it over here in our Facebook, and we will try our very best to answer that. If not, I will just do a live later on and answer that for you. But if we can, we will try our very best. Okay, Andrew, before we go to the question, do you have any opening remarks you want to share or you want to greet our members yet?
Well, look, firstly, I think it's great what you're doing. You've got that Facebook group and coaching, training potential VAs on how they can kickstart their career and have a successful engagement by outsourcing their skill sets to someone, say, in Australia, the US. So I really respect what you're doing and keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's so flat. I'm blushing again. Okay, let's start with the questions. Number one, the first question I have in mind, and we've discussed this already. How do you think your clients would want to work with a VA effectively and efficiently?
Well, from my experience, the way a client would like to work with a staff in the Philippines, they want to have a healthy working relationship. So in order they want someone who's bubbly, more on the extroverted side. They want someone who's going to be reliable, enthusiastic, someone they can depend on, and good communication skills. They want someone who's receptive or open to training. So all those sort of that combination that usually leads to longevity in a role. So they're the sort of key things that a client would be looking for.
I would certainly agree on that because, like I've already been a VA for since 2014 and working with Australian clients. I really love their attitude, and you're correct. They want a VA who has these abilities of enthusiastic, dependable. That's one thing. So you really must have this kind of attitude if you want to really work and be successful in this field. Okay,
Mm.
jumping on and moving on. Our next question is, what is the big difference between working with an outsourcing agency, just like virtual coworker, and being a freelancer as a VA?
I think the biggest thing would be assurances. So when a staff works with an agency, for example, there's always assurances that they'll get paid.
Ooh, love
Uh,
that. It's a major pain if it is you have a client but you don't get paid on time, correct?
yeah, I don't think anyone enjoys that.
Sure. And I don't want that too. All right. Is that what you think the only benefit that you will get if you work with an agency rather than being just a freelancer?
The other benefits, so we can ensure that healthy working relationships occur. we can get them placed with good clients who have that sort of workflow.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things there. And then if they're wanting to really sort of, grow in their career and expand their horizons,
Yeah.
that they can develop that skill set, that experience, and they can really last. Could lead to many years working with a client. So there will be some of the main things.
Okay. This is not included in this question, but with your experience, how many of your VAs have already been working with the client for years now? Just the stats.
Good question. I think the one of the oldest ones, we have someone from 2013 who's ongoing.
Wow. I mean, that's 2013, correct? If I'm correct.
That's right.
And until now, she's working. He or she's working with the client. That's good.
She's working.
She's working with the client. So it means to say, I'm just showing you guys that when you work with an agency, the possibility of you having a real client and a lasting relationship with your client is really good. I mean, coming from Andrew's experience, he's the country manager for Virtual Coworker, and he wouldn't just say this because we're doing this interview. There's a reason why he has to do this, because we need to inform and educate a lot of aspiring VAs, and a lot of information is coming out, and I would say it's not an information, it's misinformation. So this is the reason why we're doing this, to give you the right information, to guide you accordingly, to guide you properly so that you won't get lost. Okay, as you go along in your journey, guidance is very important. You should know where to start and how to start it correctly. Okay, now going on with our question number 3. What does a client want from their VAs? What do they look for when they're working with their VAs?
There's a couple of things they usually look for. First and foremost, and this is paramount, but good communication skills. So you can have a great staff, but if the staff can't communicate well with their client, it's not going to be a successful engagement.
Does it have to be the fluency of how you speak, or is it the comprehension, or is it the understanding of how you really communicate clearly? Because there's a lot of under communication skills. There's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
steps in it.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
understanding clearly. So
Mm-hmm.
and the meaning of words in English. So I know in the Philippines, it says everyone has a pretty good level of English as a standard. But usually to be a VA, you have to have strong English speaking, writing skills. That's certainly going to help you go a long way.
Yeah, certainly. I understand what you're trying to say, because basically we are the backbone of the client. So we will be somehow facing their clients who they're working with. Now, if you cannot be the bridge for your client, then there would be a big gap. I mean, your client will be problematic about that, because the communication or the messaging is not coming out so clear from your end to their client's perspective. So I think
Exactly.
that's how important it is for a VA to really have a good understanding when it comes to communicating. The comprehension, not just the reading, but the understanding that goes along. If you are, that's why we are trying to, I don't know, Andrew, if you agree with me. That's why we're trying to emphasize most of the time that whenever there is a job post, read the specific instructions, because if you're showing your weaknesses in that particular area, then how can Andrew, virtual coworker, even hire you if you do not know how to follow a basic instruction such as reading the hiring process or whatever it is that they're posting? So this is very crucial. This is very ideal if you want to be a part, or if you want to be even successful in this career. You have to
Mhm.
upscale your skills, guys. Okay. Number 4, do you think that training is essential for someone who does not have a VA experience? And how can this help them, the VAs, when applying with virtual coworker?
Good question. Well, I understand that's what you do, Dolores, is you conduct training for VAs. What I'd
Yes, we
suggest,
do.
if a potential candidate has been working in, say, the call centers or offices in Manila, and that commute, which I know is quite terrible. You know, I
Yeah.
understand it can be up to 2 hours one way.
Yeah,
So if
you
they're
know
wanting,
that. You've
yeah,
experienced it yourself.
many a time. So if they are seeking a better quality life, a bit more work-life balance,
Yeah.
um, look, they would need some initial experience, absolutely. So if someone was to dive into a role without any experience, I think they would struggle.
Yes.
Wouldn't be a healthy sort of working relationship. So usually clients expect someone with a bit of experience in certain areas. Now, if it's very sort of basic stuff, if they're just doing administrative data entry, that sort of work, which is not hard to learn, but you know, I would suggest with your group that would be a good starting point.
Yes, the reason I have to include that in the question is because I want these people, the members especially, to understand that being a VA is not really as easy as one, two, three. You have to really learn the facets of it. You have to have an understanding of what type of a career you're coming into. Like just like if you want to be a doctor, this is my basic example as all the time. You can't just go to a hospital and say, "Hey, I want to be a doctor. Can you hire me?" You don't have the credentials. You don't have the 10-year skills or whatsoever. You've not earned the right skills to become a doctor. So why are you now even applying as a doctor? It's the same thing as here. So if you want to become a VA, it's enough that you have the experience, the work experience. Let's just emphasize that. Maybe you are in accounting, an engineer, or whatsoever. But then again, add to that skills would be the understanding of what should be my attitude as a VA. What should I how do I even talk to my client? How do I even communicate with my client? These are the things that we tend to miss and not or to ignore because we feel like I'm an experienced already. We should not be entitled. Most of the time, I'm sorry to say, but we feel like we're entitled for something when we apply already. We feel like, hey, you should respond to me because I
Mm.
submitted a resume or an application. Do you experience that? Do you even experience people following it up on you and feel like this person is too much? I mean, the harsh words of I sent a resume, but no words, no nothing. Do you experience that from your end as the country manager for virtual coworker?
You mean someone having expectations for
Exactly. For them to be replied to, or you have to respond to them because they sent an application.
Yeah, I mean that's usually how it works. If someone doesn't have the necessary skill set or experience for the role, there's no point in placing them for that job because it's not going to lead anywhere. Um, so
That's
yeah,
nice to hear from your end because as an admin of this community, we've been receiving that kind of comments or complaints. I've applied with Virtual Coworker but never heard anything from them. Coming from Mr. Andrew Lewis, why would they even move you forward to another step if from the first step you've already failed? So that's the reason where we are coming in and guiding you along so that when you try to apply through all the partners that we have the right not really the right formula, but at least you have a great understanding of, okay, that's the reason why I keep failing from the first time because I've not improved. Even my resume is not properly written. So things are going to be more clear to you if you have an idea of what you're trying to do. Okay, thank you for that insight, Andrew. The next question is, do you think that there is a future as a virtual assistant, and is there longevity in this kind of a career? I don't want to say work, a kind of career. This is a career for me.
good question. So do I think there's longevity in the role of a VA?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an industry that's growing absolutely, especially with overpopulation and commuting. More people want to work from home and have that work life balance. So as long as they're a good worker, they have a good skill set, they're enthusiastic, they're reliable, they're dedicated, they have a good work ethic. Ultimately, um, that can all lead to longevity in the role. So, and I know a lot of sort of Filipinos are very family orientated. So doing their work and then spending time with their family, that's really important. I understand. So
Yes. Just a quick one. Sorry, my laptop is about to leave me now. Sorry about that. That's correct. And when you said a while ago that there's longevity, you gave an example. 2013, she's still working with the client, right? So we're just showing you guys that in this career there is certainty. It may not be a guarantee, but there is certainty because you keep growing. You learn to appreciate the things that you're doing, and certainly you would love the idea that you're like what Andrews keeps saying, work-life balance. For 20 years working in a corporate field, I have been working 20 years, and so before I started my career as a VA, I've never experienced the work-life balance, even if it is being promoted in our office before when I was working. But I've never experienced it. But when I worked as a VA, started working as a VA, then I really enjoyed the meaning of work-life balance. Although I'm a workaholic person, but I enjoy it still because I'm here at my home. I have my own space. I can see my kids. They know what I'm doing. That's the important thing there. But nevertheless, that should not be the first reason why you want to work from home. Okay, never make it as an excuse. Nowadays, we feel like it's an excuse already. You have to do it because that's how you think you can develop and you can really work. There's an essential for you. You have the essential skills that you can really use and serve your clients. Huh? Don't just make excuses like I don't want to go traffic anymore because to and fro 2 hours. If you do not have the skills, are you just going to resign from your office because you don't want to go to traffic or you don't want to face the traffic every day? You must prepare for it to become a VA. So I'm not discouraging you, but encouraging you to understand what the VA world is all about. Again, it is a career, right? So moving on, can you see a great need for qualified VAs sooner or later? Well, this is kind of related to number five, but this can be a supplemental answer to that.
Quality candidates. Well, look, it is competitive out there. People want to get jobs. So
Exactly.
the ones who put in the work and have worked on their skill sets and are really committed to being the best they can, they're the ones that are going to get ahead ultimately. So quality candidates, that's what everyone wants at the end of the day. Um,
Exactly.
mm.
You want to enjoy you want to enjoy working, having a little money in your pocket. Well, I'm not saying it's really little. It depends on how uh, what do you saw. I don't want to say it's little, but at least you're enjoying what you're receiving. I just want to jump in and read some of the comments. They might make tampo. You know tampo in Tagalog, in
I'm
English.
learning. I'm learning. Yeah.
Yeah, they might feel sorry that we didn't even read their comments. So number one, Marie Mascarina, better quality and life balance. That's her comment, Andrew Lewis. And Norishal Ann says, wow, that's my forte, inbound call. She's working, I believe, in a call center. Ellie Reese, she says, good morning, everyone. Lucena Dayo Mahumok, watching from Negros Occidental. This is far. Norishal Ann, good day from Lipa, Batangas, and I hope Batangueño are doing fine now after the volcano has erupted. Little by little, they're picking up the pieces where they can start again. Miriam Cases or Cases, good morning, everyone. Isel Isle, good morning. There's no really question here, but they're just greeting us, Andrew. So thank you and good morning for joining us. We're almost down to the last question. Okay, as Andrew said, there's really a big potential for this career. They can see that there's a bright future for you as a VA. All you have to do is really prepare yourself and become a qualified VA. Okay. Number seven, what does an aspiring VA need to do to become a qualified VA and be able to pass the hiring process of virtual coworker and or other agencies?
Well, it depends on the job description in question. So as long as their skill sets meets that job requirement, um, then they're the candidates that are going to get placed. So if they want to have a look at some of the job descriptions on our website, for example, that can give them a good idea if they are suitable for that role. So some of the things we discussed, it really just comes down to work ethic and being reliable, enthusiastic, wanting to do your best job. And of course, it depends on the roles. There's a very broad range of roles that we employ.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, so web developers, graphic designers, customer service,
Yeah.
bookkeepers, accountants, etc. The list goes on. So depending on their relevant experience in their previous career, if they can apply that, then that's a win-win.
So, lastly, this is not part of the question anymore. Amongst your VAs, what is the percentage of Filipino VAs working with virtual coworker?
What do you mean? As in, are they all Filipino?
How many of the Filipinos are working as a VA with virtual coworker? I believe it's not only Filipino VAs that you hire, right? Or are
We
you just
we
concentrated with Filipinos?
we purely only hire in the Philippines.
Wow. So no Indians, no other what do you call that? You're not touching base with other countries to hire VAs.
No, just the Philippines.
See, guys, that's the great opportunity that you're missing if you're not doing your part and not preparing for it. Really, there is an avenue for you or a platform for you to choose from when you want to become a VA. We're not saying that it's not really nice becoming a freelancer. Okay, we're not saying that don't be a freelancer, but then you choose to work with an agency. But here is the opportunity for us, providing a good type of work life balance, like what Andrew says, and the longevity of work that we all want to have working from home. But then again, if you're not going to do your part and just keeps asking the question how you're interested, it's not going to work. So from now on, moving forward, you have to really upscale and level up your style of understanding. You have to really do your homework, do a lot of research. We have partnered with 7 different outsourcing agencies, and for that reason, one of those is Virtual Coworker. And we're very thankful that they did see the potential of working with us or partnering with us because of the fact that they also need qualified VAs. And in that sense, the Philippine Home-based Virtual Assistants community is really thinking of helping them by providing qualified VAs through the training that we also do in the community. So you don't have to worry about it, because at the end of the day, if you really do not pass the training, you have to just retake it. Because if you're not going to make it as a VA, then you will always keep on applying and never become a VA really. So do you have any parting words? I mean, do you have any message for the Philippine home-based virtual assistance members, Andrew, before we end our discussion? Do
I
you have
just think
anything to promote?
it's a great career. So if all the things we discussed in this interview, if that's what they're seeking, and if they go through the appropriate channels, that's very important.
Yeah, I like
They,
that.
they
I like that. What do you mean when they go to the appropriate channels? Can you clarify that? Because a lot of people doesn't,
Yeah, so
maybe doesn't.
we have 3 websites. So we have an Australian, US website, and the Philippines website. So
Mm,
for candidates in the Philippines, they need to go to the .ph website, virtualcoworker.ph, and then
mm-hmm.
go through the appropriate channels, and they can chat to our recruiters, and then
Yes.
that's the way, that's the path they need to take. So going through any other channels is just not the way to do it. But
Yeah.
if that's what they're seeking, a good work quality life balance, then we can certainly pair them with the right candidate, or sorry,
Candidate or
right
clients.
clients. Yeah,
Yeah. So thank you so much for that information that we really need to know. And rest assured, guys, the members of this community, we will try our very best to provide you with all the right information that you need to have, that you must have. We will not promise you the sun and the moon here, but we will try to do the best that we can in order for us to really um, make you understand what this career, what the VA is, or what this career is all about. Like what I keep saying, it's not just a job, it is a career for us. I have been doing this since 2014, and I really love what I do. I really enjoy what I do because I get to do what I want to do. This is what I love. I get to do this even if I'm working. You see what I mean? You can really do the work life balance. You can really enjoy everything, especially if you're client is really nice to you. So thank you so much, Andrew, for your time. I know you're a very busy person, but you gave your time with us, and we look forward to meeting virtual coworker on February 29th. You might want to invite some of your applicants who applied on through virtual coworker to join us, although the registration is already closed, so we can no longer accept any registration. And I'm happy to say that we've almost hit the number that we targeted for this.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Dolores.
Thank you so much. And thank you guys for joining us. I will be posting this on our YouTube channel. So please share it to others who would want to view this interview with Mr. Andrew Lewis of Virtual Coworker. Thank you so much, Andrew. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. God bless. And thank you so much, guys. No questions. So I will not be asking any questions. Thank you.
Ciao. Bye.
Ciao.